because we do.
Hello!
Yeah.
Welcome to Roleplay Cafe. This is playtest session number 3 of Dark Age of Man. I would like to welcome, of course, Dell of Roleplay Cafe, David, top right, and Todd, top bottom left, right? And I want to thank these guys for gambling their time in a playtest. So this is fantastic. So thank you in advance for helping us with this. This is a high-level game in the sense that these guys are high-level ranking advisors to a lord. And we're testing high-level play, the math, etc., right? The concepts. So, without further ado, here we go. We are in Northern Ireland, spring 875 A.D. Spring in Northern Ireland is very dangerous. This is when the invaders from the Northern Sea Peoples generally show up and raid and pillage and plunder. They have not yet showed up in April of 875. We are in Esseltown. Bishop Gerald stands in the center of the village of Esseltown. Directly across the rutted, muddy street is the stone Esselweld Arms. It is a 2-story inn and tavern. Out front of that tavern are 3 cloaked travelers. They are 2 of them have their hoods up. The one seated at the end, his hood is down. He is clean shaven. He has got tight cropped blonde hair. These gentlemen are strangers to you. You all know these villagers and these people quite a bit, Gerald. And they are definitely coming through. They are having a snack. It's about 11 a.m. in the morning. They are mud covered. Their cloaks reveal their scabbards, that they are armed. But you can't make out much more detail as far as who they may be affiliated with. To your left in the stocks, which is fairly new, are 3 men hanging in the stocks. They are alive, but they are emaciated. One is hanging in a metal cage. The other 2 are actually in stocks. And beside them is the local soldier from your castle. He is on guard with these guys. He is at the guard post here in town.
That's it.
And it is a beautiful spring morning, or mid-morning.
All right. So I will greet these 3 strangers to our community. Good morning, friends. How are you this day? I welcome you to Esselweld. I am Bishop Gerald. Who might you be?
Yeah, the gentleman at the end turns. He stands, and they both look, and he says, you're a holy man. Come, and they all stand up. Both of them pull their hoods down. They are groomed. One has a goatee. They are well groomed. These gentlemen speak with clear elocution. You instantly can tell these are a higher class of individual. They welcome you, bid you to sit, join us, have some lamb, have some duck.
Oh, please, I have already eaten. Please, carry on with your meal. Carry on with your meal. I don't wish to interrupt your breakfast. So, what brings you to Esselweld, my friends?
We are passing through to Braithwaite, to Derry, to the monastery in Derry.
I see. And what waits you at the monastery in Derry?
Well, that is a private matter, but it involves a holy artifact. As a matter of fact, Bishop, do you know of the holy artifact there at Derry?
I have heard tales of such a relic that's held there. Yes, yes. I'm not sure of the details of it, but I have heard stories that there is some sort of relic there. Yes. This is what you seek.
There is some. Now, again, forgive us in your presence to speak of such things, but there is rumor that this relic may actually be cursed, and they want us to investigate this relic.
I see.
Have you encountered anything in your travels as a holy man that would? Is this superstition?
This is more than likely superstition, friends. Yes, I would not put much truck in it. No. So,
what do you
keep your wit about you.
What do you know of King Braithwaite? We have not met him. He was He was advised of our coming, and we have yet to meet him. We have heard along the road that he is a difficult man to deal with. Will he be an obstacle for us at the monastery?
Depends on what you wish to do at the monastery, I suppose. Are you paying your respects to the clergy there?
Ooh, let's make a prestige check on this, sir. Okay. So you add your prestige to the 1d10.
Yep.
Their CV
are we
is
gonna roll 20 anywhere?
No, just roll. Okay. I trust you guys. Yep.
Okay. All right.
You want low?
It is.
Low is good.
20.
Oh. You hear the one with the goatee. Get the eye of his the talkative blonde, and kind of gives him a they haven't said a word. They've been listening to you talk to the blonde, and he gets his attention and hushes him, and then he stands and says, "I do believe we should be moving on, Kane. Bishop, it has been a pleasure of talking with you, but we do have to get on the road."
The pleasure has all been mine, my friends. Safe journeys to you this day. And pass on my best wishes to the I guess it would be the priests there at Derry, where you're going.
Yeah, you would know him as the Cardinal Dagon at the Derry monastery.
Okay. All right. Well, I will take my leave of you now.
As they stand, and their cloaks swing open, you can see they're wearing a tabard you have not seen before, but they are armed well. They have beautiful swords. Their overcoats and boots are muddy and sloppy, but these gentlemen are from, and they speak with an English accent versus you're again in Northern Ireland, so you might have more of an Irish accent, Welsh accent. These sound like they might be from England, right? From across the channel. Okay. All right. You see them approach three steeds, all typical small horses, right? These horses aren't bred big, but they're quick and they're durable. They mount up and they begin to trot away, these three. Yes. And you see the goatee, as they pass away, you see the gentleman in the goatee talking at the blonde guy pretty furiously, like, you may have said too much, right?
Yes. Okay.
And again, in the stocks are three guys hanging.
I was kind of gonna go over to them and I guess is there a man at arms or anybody around?
There is. There's a guard. You know him from the fort. He's on duty down here not from the fort, from the castle. His name is Gale, and he looks and he bows. "Oh, Your Eminence, Bishop, how are you this morning?"
Oh, I am quite fine. I'm quite fine. These three individuals, what are their crimes?
They are just bandits. This one caught poaching, and he kicks him in the behind. You can see they've been whipped. You can see they're starved. They're pretty miserable. The one in the cage he points to and says, "Well, this one we're waiting. He's awaiting the Brehon's judgment. We will bring him up to the Brehon in 2 days, and he will sit before Bayrock, and hopefully Bayrock will announce his sentence. But supposedly murder this man, and the one on the end was stealing apples."
I see. Grievous crimes indeed. Would you mind if I had Father McKines bring them water, at least to keep them from becoming parched? It would do no good to have them die of thirst before they are...
Anything you want, Bishop. It is all within your authority.
I did not want to overstep or insult you. But yes, I will send Father McKines and maybe one of his assistants to bring a bucket of water and a ladle for these gentlemen.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so these guys are bandits.
Yeah, I mean, and you have authority to take them into custody, right? You don't answer to anybody if you wanted to release them or take them into, right?
I'm not used to having all this power.
Well, that's why it's high level gaming, right?
Yes. Getting some 0-level schlep. All right.
You don't just have player agency; you have some authority.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with it. All this power in my hands. All right, but that's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna
Okay. As you turn, talking to them, you hear a horse coming up. You see it break. He circles the yard. You recognize him immediately as Thomas, one of Antony's favorite soldiers. He is badly wounded. He's barely in the saddle. His horse is sweating, is frothing. His left shoulder is bloodied and caved in. He carries something under his right arm. His horse reels and he comes down hard, and he looks at you and he says, "Bishop, my brother William, when was the last time he was in confession with you?"
Just want me to make it
It's
up.
If he has been, it's up to you. Yeah, he doesn't know.
I believe a week ago was when I last spoke to him.
So he would be saved then.
I would imagine so. Yes. What has happened to you?
I am riding for Esselweld Castle right now. My brother his head is on a pike at Samshire. We have problems, and he circles his horse and says, "Good day to you."
Yes, Godspeed to you.
He kicks this horse, it whinnies, and he drives it again hard up the hill. It's about a mile to the castle, and you watch him ride hard.
Okay.
And we will meanwhile, transition to Antony, and you're currently in a sword duel with the young John Simon, the heir apparent at Esselweld. And as he swings this poor quality, you guys are not in armor, you're not with shields, you're using poor quality dueling swords. Mm-hmm. And as he swings this sword, you've been going around in circles with him for about 30 minutes, working on his skills. He swings again at your temple. You deftly bat it away as he asks questions about Baron Ashen and his seizure of Samshire. This is not something my father and I can allow to happen.
I nod in attempting basically to since we've been going on for over half an hour to kind of conserve my breath and my breathing. I would assume that Antony is kind of he's definitely middle-aged for sure. Has a fairly athletic build, but his midsection is beginning to show. And I would say along with that, the probably the years and the just the wear and tear on his body, has begun to show, but he still feels as though he still feels that he's much younger in his mind than he is in his body. Okay. Yeah. Like many of us.
You're talking to guys just like that.
So Antony changes his stance and he says, I'm well aware that that is an issue that is if forgive me, that could be or is larger than the both of us. And in order to live up to your father's legacy, as well as to would it be correct to say our countries or our standing or our Esselweld's honor, that is something that cannot go unanswered.
He stops, lets his guard down, kind of surprised, and says, "Oh, so you think I should decide and lead the investigation into Samshire?" And he leaps forward at you as you again maybe step aside. He's a little bit tired and he's a little bit sloppy in his work. Okay.
I make note of that, and seeing that his ability to focus on the physical aspects of what we're doing versus holding a conversation with me, I make note of that, and I will possibly try to take advantage of that and maybe hit him maybe on the forearm with the flat of the blade and say doing that to like kind of like accentuate what I'm saying.
Yep.
I say yes, smack.
Oh,
but
he kind of dances around,
but
his arm.
mayhap someone who has much more experience in the ways of such things should be making those decisions right now.
Yes, I agree, Anthony. You are commander. He's rubbing his arm and he's sweating. Okay. You hear somebody yell for you, Anthony, from behind. Commander, Anthony.
Okay.
As you spin around, you see it's one of your soldiers, and he says, Thomas has just arrived from Samshire. He wants to see you. Okay. And as he steps aside, you see Thomas limp in, his left shoulder bloodied. It's bleeding through his tabard. He has under his helmet, under his right arm, a bloodied helmet. And he looks at you. You can see he has had a rough time. He's been beaten. He's somehow survived, whatever it was. He walks up and he sets the helmet down on your little table there, where you guys might where you might actually sit and do notes or what things you might do. And he looks at it and he says, "Commander," and he takes a knee best he can, and then he stands once you give him leave to stand. And he says, "William, this is all that's left of my brother William. His head is on a pike, adorning the palisade doors of Samshire." And you can see his eyes well with tears as he reflects on his brother. And he said, "But I will have you know," and he can't use his left arm. You see him dig in, and he winces as he pulls out a bag. And he looks at you and he says, "But sir, I stayed for days, and I scouted." And he dumps a bag of rocks and pebbles all over your table, and some bounce and scatter, hit, thud, rattle, and off onto the ground around your feet. And he says, I kept a rock for every head I counted, 42, including the Baron and a Dane. And then he leans in and he says, "It appears as though our kinsmen have allied with a sea people."
Oh wow! Okay.
And then he winces. I came. As soon as I could. I am all that is left of Samshire's forces.
I look up and yell to any other soldier or who.
Oh yeah, there's 15 on the castle grounds. Yep.
Okay, I yell wine. For this man quickly.
Yeah, they come huddling over. They bring him wine. They pull up a stool. He flops down. And one of them begins to pull his tabard down and doctor his wounds as he winces. And then he looks up with his lip quivering and he says, I did all I could. And he starts to waver like he's going to pass out.
Okay. I will grab his shoulders with both hands, and look him squarely in the eye, and I will say, "You have done more than any one man could be asked to do." He says, "But tell me again, you slew the Baron? Is that what I heard?"
"No, sir. No." He starts to weep as he tells you, all I could do was hide and scout the fort and count heads. No.
Okay.
But the Baron, with the Baron were Dane barbarians.
Okay.
I slew nobody, sir. I'm sorry. And he weeps as he.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Then the rocks represent what then?
To keep count, he would drop a rock in a bag.
Not literally the heads, but the man count that he saw. Yeah, okay, I misunderstood.
He was nervous, terrified. Okay. So he was dropping a rock for every head he could.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, I misunderstood.
And he wanted you to get a sense of how many, right? Yeah.
Okay. I look back at John, and I say, "Look at this man, long and hard." I say, "This is what war looks like. This is what suffrage looks like. This is almost what death looks like." He said, "I say, you may very well have your chance to experience that. So understand the pain and the suffrage that one must go through in order to stand for what is right. Okay, and never forget this."
Yeah, he bows. "Yes, Commander. This is a sight. This is the sight to see, and we will make sure this soldier is well taken care of."
Okay.
Thank you, Commander.
I'll gather up the rocks and put them back in the pouch.
Okay.
And I will make sure that he is getting the best care that he can, and I'll turn to him once again and say, "We will speak of this again once you have more of your strength about you."
Okay. So let's make a command check as you watch and observe as you want to make sure he's getting proper health care. So let's make a mind check, just a straight mind check plus your mind.
Okay.
And this will determine whether he gets, what he gets back, right?
Okay. So this will be D20 minus what my mind rank is or score?
Plus. So your 10 plus your mind is what, 1? Is your mind 1?
Mine is 1, yeah.
So
I need
11.
to roll
so
11
1 to 11 is successful.
11 or less? I gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I understand.
Yep.
And 1. There you go.
Oh, critical success.
Yeah.
So he will get so you can either give him back 2 health points, or you can fix his injury. He has suffered an injury. He's lost this use of his left arm.
Oh wow. Okay.
So he can't get both the wounds, but you could recover his injury here.
Okay. Let's say that there is mayhap a do we call them leeches or what do we call them?
Sure. Yeah.
There's someone here, Duncan, perhaps.
Sure, Duncan.
Who I've used personally in the past.
Nice.
And his skill is unmatched. And Duncan will somehow be able to allow him to have to regain the use of his arm.
Awesome. So he comes over and he says, "Yes, yes, Commander. I will. Oh, I have seen this before. He has suffered a grievous wound, but we can set this bone and we can stitch and we can heal. He will be at full soon enough."
Okay.
And he goes to work. He says, "I will take him though to the infirmary tent where where he can be more comfortable while we work." And he and a couple of men help him up and they carry him away. And we will transition to the office, the Brahan, the library. You have listened now for 45 minutes. The Lord. Tell your scribe, right? As he scribbles, the scribe scribbles. He tells the scribe how he is going to restructure the Brantfield parcel of land to get more crop yield, and to do so, he's going to raise the Brantfield estate, and he is going to command that they irrigate from the river into the new into that recovered land, and they are going to create a greater crop yield for that property. And the Brants will just have to relocate to a smaller home that they can build on the river. And he wants this written. He'll sign it, and he wants it delivered. He wants them doing this before the spring is out. He wants that property producing more. And then he looks at you and he says, "What say you, Bayrock? Am I not a smart man?" Are you muted? I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah.
That was brilliant, too. That's too bad.
Indeed wise, Your Eminence. Martin, make sure you punctuate. Martin.
Yes, Martin. Yes, Martin looks up. Yes, I will have to rewrite this. Pardon me. Give me a moment to rewrite this in a much nicer hand if it's going to represent our Lord Esselweld. And he pulls up another parchment and a new quill, and he starts writing slowly. He's nervous around the Lord as the Lord rants about these ideas he gets. The Lord walks over to you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Del.
I shall look it over, Your Eminence.
Do you think it's a good idea displacing the Brants for that property?
If the property is much needed here, I'm sure they can relocate, fertilize, and bring forth new crop in different areas of your land.
Yes, and I believe we
more
will.
productive.
Good. I'm happy we see eye to eye on this. I mean, they are just renters, right? So it is our land. Now, the question of Shamshire. Have you talked to the commander about how we're going to deal with the Baron and his seizure of our fort there?
I believe I need to speak with, take some time and speak more directly with Commander Anthony. about this.
Yes, and include Gerald, the bishop, because there is a chapel there along Shampshire, and all of you should
very
be.
wise, Your Eminence.
Boy, you are uncomfortably agreeable this morning, Bayrock. Did you not sleep well? Is your stomach bothering you?
Hey, Your Eminence, you're so funny.
He smacks you on the back. Now I will be off to eat. It is.
There's no need for a fool in court.
Oh, you are funny, Bayrock. Well, I'm gonna go eat. It is now time for a man who has worked so hard in the morning to find nourishment. He spends it, and as he passes by Martin, he snatches up what was written. Yes, you fool! This is scribbled. Good that you are rewriting it. And then he leaves it on Martin's desk and walks out, leaving you alone with Martin.
Okay. I turn around and go around the corner where Martin is, and just walking over his shoulder, looking down. Yes. You may want to do that again and bring it to my desk when you're done. I have something that I need to attend to. And I walk over to my area and sit down and reopen the paper that I'd been looking at before the Esselweld came in. Martin,
yes.
You know where Samson might be right now?
Samson, I do not know offhand.
You think he's back out of the wood?
He may well be. Yes. Well, he should be. I think you could find him probably down in the courtyard.
Well, yes, you can find him down in the courtyard, and when you do, bring him back here. I need to speak with him for a moment.
Would you like me to finish this, sir? Or would you like me to do that now?
He will wait. Our gracious eminence is feeding himself right now. Let it digest, and we'll let that digest.
Okay. So he's up, and he says, I will find Samson for you. And he's down and out. You hear him, again, this is the second floor. You share quarters here with the library, the office. You also share quarters with the commander and the cook and her husband. I mean, you all have private quarters, but on the second floor of this tower. You hear him down the stairs and out. A few minutes later, he comes back. Samson behind him. Samson comes in with his hat in hand, bowed, and says, Bayrock, have I offended you in some way? Why do you call me?
Not at all, sir. Have a seat.
And he slides over. He's now looking at you out of the corner of his eyes. He sits down. This is very formal, Bayrock, and he sets his hat on the desk.
I adjust my robes. Relax. What can you tell me about the moors?
The moors. It is wild country. There's much game. It's wild. The moors can also hide villains and bandits. It also hides the mire, which is a very dangerous bog. You're talking about the Grantham Moors?
Yes, the Grantham Moors. Indeed.
Yes. In the center of the Grantham Moors is that old ruined stone keep. Is that what you ask about?
Yes, I'd like a write-up of everything you know, perhaps a map.
Excuse me, sir, but I am illiterate. I can tell you.
You cannot draw something out.
A map. Yes, sure. And he grabs over the quill and the paper that he was writing on, flips it over on the backside, and starts scribbling out a map of the moors and of the old stone keep, Grantham Hall, it's called. Scribbles it out and slides it around. It's pretty sloppy, but you can make
none of this place habitable.
There are rumors that there is death, and there are rumors that a great evil lurks there, but I know nothing more of it. The old somebody referred to this evil as Narfel, but Narfel used to be the Brehon here 3 years ago. I can't believe Narfel is there.
The Lord of Grantham Hall, past the moors.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Have you never been there?
Oh, I pass it, in my hunting, in my rounds, but I stay clear of the old keep.
Yes, the keep, nevertheless. But We have to find some kind of land where we can perhaps place the displaced Brandfields.
Oh,
supposed
yes.
to move them.
Yes.
So I would suggest that while you're out, you scout out a nice location around the moors.
Yes. Yes. We will move the Brants to the moors? Okay. Yes, sir. I will do so. Do you want them to have good property or bad property, sir?
Good property. The best you can find.
Ah, very good. You're such a kind Breon. I will do this. I will try to get them good water for well as well.
Yes,
sir.
Make them very prosperous. Be on with it.
Yes, and he slides his map over to you and gets up, bows, grabs his hat, and he's out. Martin, meanwhile, frowns because now he's got to start writing this all over again because this guy used the back of his map. I mean, the back of his scroll. So he sits down, starts
Make it nice, Martin. His Eminence will need it by this evening.
Yes, sir. And we will fade to black. That is prologue. And we will fade up to Act 1. It is 2 in the morning. All of you have been roused at 2 in the morning. The castle is utterly dark. Your lord stands in front of you, overlooking from the palisade walls, overlooking the northwestern shoreline. At 2 in the morning in the darkness, he has a hooded lamp. He has led you out to the palisade. All of the soldiers, all of everybody who's willing to wake up and go out and look, can see the dots all over the landscape of the Viking invaders as they have landed and they are burning. And he turns to you all and says, they are here early this year. And look there, Commander. That is the closest they have been to us in the last few years. I am afraid they have decided maybe more inland and more toward the cliffs here in Esselweld. What say you, Anthony?
I Anthony smacks his one fist into the palm of the other hand and says, they have been a blight upon these lands for, I would assume, generations. Would that be correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, mayhap this is a sign that we as a people need to teach them a lesson. And whether that lesson is taught by the offering of a rose or the point of a sword, the choice will be theirs.
Hard to believe a man of war uses terms like the rose versus the sword. That shows deliberation and an understanding of the threat. Anthony, that is good. Brehan, what say you? You know our potential forces. Do you think we can actually threaten or?
We cannot afford to lose any land whatsoever.
Agreed.
You know this when you're having to displace our people to gain more. Shall we leave it for these invaders to raise, to capture, to steal from our coffers?
Nice.
No, I think not. I think not. And the grace here, Gerald, I know his peoples have been afflicted with a scourge for ages.
Yes. We will show them that the Lord is on our side. And with righteousness we will strike them down, these heathens who come to our shores.
Then we are all prepared then to fight, because it will take us all. Yes. Gerald, are you in any condition to wield a weapon in combat for the Lord and for you?
I may be somewhat older than the others here, but I am still hearty enough to heft my mace and bring it smashing down upon these heathen raiders.
And the Lord backs him, my grace.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord backs him, and will motivate the troops.
Yes.
And all under your care.
Yes. Yes. Well, everyone return to bed. In the morning, we will have breakfast, and we will meet in the hall to discuss at finer detail of what we must do next. Sleep on it. He stops you, Commander, before you return to the castle, and turns you and says, "Is my boy ready? Is John Simon ready?"
Anthony looks over the battlement, I guess, towards the mini campfire.
Well, no, these are burning. They're already pillaging and burning.
They're raising.
Yep.
Okay, that's even worse. Okay.
Yeah, in the inlet, there's a sea inlet there, and they're already on both sides. Yep.
Okay. Looking at the fires, he grips the I guess the stone or the wood under his hands, and he says, I don't know if he will ever be ready for the horrors that I can only imagine that we will encounter. But I will promise you this: I have taught him all that I can, and he has been an attentive and eager student.
He is a good young man. Tell me though, do you sense cowardice in my son?
I say cowardice. I say never. If anything, he has the exuberance of youth.
Good. He will need it.
He is too eager to face any foe head to head, and I pray that with this exuberance will come also patience.
Anthony, you are good. You've been a good advisor and a good man. He puts his hand on your shoulder and he says, "We will find out what we are all made of before this spring is over.
Okay.
Now we should get rest."
Okay.
Go ahead.
I nod, and I will remain, or Anthony will remain on the battlement, staring at the flames for a little while longer.
Nice. Let's make a spirit roll on that, sir. Actually,
okay.
Right. So just die 10, add your spirit to your range.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Below that number.
I needed an 11, and I got an 11.
All right. So we're gonna give you you're gonna have a +1 bonus to anything that comes up in future, right?
Okay.
So at any time in future, you want to add a +1 to a die roll. You're going to have basically an advantage there, right?
Okay.
Okay.
And that's just one shot. That's it. Burnt.
Yep.
Then it's
just
gone.
A one shot. Yep. But this sober reflection upon these, you've heard the stories from your your kin.
Mm-hmm.
They have raided monasteries in particular for generations, plundering the church and the relics and the gold and the silver. They are the biggest bone of contention is they are now staying. They are taking land. They are demanding land, and they're staying. They don't come and go anymore. They stay. This is so as you reflect on these fires, and you're miles away, but they are definitely closer to your land now than they've ever been. It's clear they are working their way this direction. Okay. So the next morning, as you sit for breakfast, he dismisses his wife and his two daughters, and his young boy. He tells John Simon to stay. He has just you three, himself and John Simon. He tells John Simon to sit quietly, keep your mouth shut. You need to learn. You do not speak unless we ask you a question. And he says, "So you have all had a night to sleep on this. I have weighed our odds. I think, Commander, we have maybe we can muster 100 men in Esselweld hold that have sworn fealty to me as a defense force and warriors. Is that about right?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
I heard that the young Thomas, the soldier, returned from Shamshire in bad shape and tells us of a maybe another threat that these Danes have allied with a kinsfolk. Is this? Do you believe this is true? Would the young Thomas lie to us?
I have no doubts in his recollection. Wow,
Mm-hmm.
of what he saw. And at this point, I would bet my life on it.
I will ask us to weigh that for a moment, because we may have to prioritize what we deal with first.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop, you know that Braithwaite and the Diri Monastery are in the path of these raging this particular season's Vikings. Would you prioritize the monastery and allegiance to King Braithwaite? Would you advise such a thing?
Yes, I would actually. There is also a holy relic there at the Church of Derry that the Holy Father is very interested in, and we must secure and keep safe.
The Pope?
Yes.
Oh, then by God, we should do all we can to obtain that.
Indeed.
Oh, good. All right. So you know Cardinal Dagan there. Would he protect this holy relic with his life, or would he give it up if these Vikings?
I would think he would defend it with his own life.
Would you?
Yes.
Then I will trust that he would be a man not unlike you.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, good. Brayhan, what say you, Bayrock? Because we have got some decisions to make.
This treachery of the young Thomas speaks of Shire colluding with the raiders. Perhaps we could sow some distrust. Too.
Go with that. What do you advise? How do we do that?
If we sabotage the relationship, show somehow that Samshire has betrayed them. Perhaps pit them against each other, reduce their numbers, and then we can strike. Of course, I'm all for what the Grace suggest, defending the monastery, and of course you too, your Eminence, but a detachment of men there, but I believe that we need to track these raiders and see if this is indeed true, that they're colluding with Samshire. Perhaps Aspire to. Could go on our list.
Yes.
What was that, Bishop? What did you have something to say?
I am considering what my friend here is saying. Yes, maybe we should.
So, Commander, if we do not deal with Samshire, we have enemies at our back and at our front.
Yes.
We know what we deal with at Samshire. I do believe my information tells me there are supposedly 42 at this fort. Anthony?
And we're speaking of, when you say 42, we speak of
42 people, soldiers, right? Barbarians and his men are at Shamshire.
Okay, yeah.
The number correct. 42.
Yes.
As you recall last night, looking over those fires, that's hundreds and hundreds of men. We will have to ally with somebody to take that force on.
Your Grace, do you know of these heathenistic pagan rituals? Perhaps we can desecrate one of their idols and plant it on this Samshire walls.
And what effect do you think that would have?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Pit our two enemies against one another.
Oh, I see what you mean to do.
Do we know what Baron Ashen's, do we know his temperament? Do we know what
he's always been a blowhard. He's never had much. So for him to make this move, prior to this, you knew he had made the move and seized the fort, which was way outside his power structure, way outside his. But he was a blowhard and arrogant, and he was ambitious, but had no way. And the fact that he did this, and now you found out about his ally with these Vikings, now you know where he got the power to take this fort.
And do we have any idea what his typical armament is?
Soldiers not unlike yours, probably more green than yours because he doesn't pay well. He had not lots of coin. However, again, the Vikings traditionally are they're usually veteran soldiers, pretty dangerous, right? But you guess that as far as his soldiers go, probably not real effective.
And what would our relationship have been with Baron Ashens in the past? Do we kind of like, ignore him as a
you tolerate him?
or,
It would have been you would have been about tolerance. He's never acted against the lords, the Esselweld. So there's never been any reason to be aggressive. It's just been he's been annoying, etc. You've assumed that he's also maybe funded banditry along that area and was probably getting money. So he was doing those kind of things, but you could never prove that he was behind, or the Lord never invested resources in proving it, right?
The Baron is a true king. He's an upstart. He's harassing our lands.
But perhaps this upstart could be persuaded to be our ally, whether that's temporarily or more long term.
I say let the Raiders raise him as well. Reduce their numbers.
Rayhan, we cannot lose Samshire. It is a strategic position at the ford. We can't lose Samshire.
Right.
Are you suggesting we give up Samshire?
No, are not the Baron's men inhabiting Samshire now?
Well, yes, but I'd rather they weren't.
Yes, well, let the Vikings take care of that.
But if they were our allies, this could be a buffer between us and the barbarians. I mean, what would he want? Lands?
Ally with a common ruffian that lays in wait and harasses our borders, and has now grown so bold to come in and take one of our fortresses, and we're going to offer the rose? I don't know if that is wise.
I'm with Anthony on this.
Pit the two dogs.
Bishop, you know the heart of men.
Yes.
Tell us.
I would rather us find some sort of common ground with what's this guy's name again?
Ashen.
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 Find some common ground with him. We will find more common ground with him than with these heathens on our shores.
Well said.
Let His Eminence decide.
There is
I got it.
we cannot afford to wage war on two fronts. And I do believe we could sway a Baron Ashen to our cause, as he stands to lose as well.
Yes.
He's already taken Samshire, so if we deliver message that we will allow him to keep Shamshire in future, if they swear an oath to join us against this new invader.
Yes.
Does that sound doable?
Yes. And if down the road Baron Ashen decides to turn on us, maybe he will be already in a weakened position, and we can deal with him then.
He will certainly be in a weakened position facing the Vikings alone. We'll meet each other.
His leash can always be tightened.
Yes.
We need first to determine whether we can ally with him. We can always leave him to the Vikings, or we can always war with him if he does not.
Yes.
Bayrock, is that understood?
Yes. Really.
Should
I have Martin write this down?
No. You will mount up, and you will take my son, and you will meet them on the field and negotiate this treaty yourselves.
Very well.
Yes, sire.
So, Bayrock, dress accordingly.
Yeah, I'm already in my robes.
Robes will not save you from the sword or the axe of a heathen barbarian. Tell him, Bishop.
Indeed. I mean, look under my robes, and I have my chain. I'm already prepared.
No, that is a man of God. Do you see that?
Well,
He trusts
I
the
have
Lord.
the armor of faith is upon me.
Yes.
We can
Yes.
win the fate of these heathens. They will take note of me.
Commander, we have but 15 of our best soldiers here as security for the Esselweld. We cannot send them with you. You four will have to trust that they won't take you hostage or threaten your lives. I cannot give you any men. However, you can muster men along the way if you that will fall in line.
Okay.
Shall I have Martin write a proclamation with your signature?
Yes. He slides it over and he scribbles down. He stamps it with his. He melts the wax, stamps it with his signet ring, holds it up, reads it. Hear ye all able men of Esselweld are commanded to take up arms, and under the command of Antony. I don't know what your last name is, but of Antony. And he rolls it up, hands it to you, Antony, and he says, they probably won't be able to read it, but when you read it aloud, they will fall in line.
Okay.
And, of course, you all know that you have the authority to exact treasonous justice upon traitors if they do not. If they do fail to follow into this conscription. Right.
Okay.
Gather them all that you can, and Godspeed, and God willing, they will communicate with us about this impending threat on the shores.
Yes, God be with us.
Yes, He is with us.
As you say, Grace.
Now, Shamshire is a few miles opposite Deary. So Deary sits on the end of the inlet coming into the sea, the Deary, and that's also Braithwaite's castle. So Deary is in King Braithwaite's territory, and Shamshire is just opposite that, about 10 miles or so. So you're going to have to ride opposite Deary to Shamshire. And we will go to Act 2, right? So we'll fade to black, fade up next morning. You are on horseback. If you have armor and equipment, you would obviously be wearing it, bearing it. The Lord is with you, the young Lord, John Simon. You three as well. And as you travel, I want all of you to make prestige checks for the first few miles here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so everybody make one prestige check. Again, add your prestige attribute to the die 10, or to the 1 die 10.
We have to roll under it.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good.
All right, I did it. 2.
Okay.
You got 11.
Oh, is that yes?
Is that good?
Yeah, that is.
14.
Yep.
Yeah, I got the prestige.
Sweet. So along the way, that is that gathers up roughly 30 men along the way. As you stop farmers and peasants, serfs, and you read them.
Swell the ranks.
Yes, you swell the ranks along your journey. All three of you, with your prestige, these men don't argue. They grab pitchforks, they grab their daggers, they grab their bows, whatever it is, and they fall in line. Midday, you cross the ford. Not far from Shamshire now is a river on the opposite side of this. Part of Shamshire's strategic fort is it kind of protects this ford from invaders from the south. Unfortunately, it's fallen in the hands of Baron Ashen.
Right.
You probably could arrive by dark, but that's up to you whether you want to march into the land right out front of the castle onto dark, or if you want to, how you want to handle your approach. Do you want to send a scout or messenger to the fort with your?
I think that would be best, actually,
That would be the way to do it.
so that they know that we are on our way and they can make proper preparations for their guests, as they should see us.
Okay.
Right.
John
Anything else would be considered rude.
John Simon steps forward and says, "I will take the information."
No.
But why, Anthony? Why can I not? Why should I not? It's my land.
It is not your place. It is you are to remain here at our side, or at my side, and one of the other guardsmen shall do his duty to do such. Your duty is to remain here and to receive him once he returns.
I will do what you say, Anthony. Maybe you are right. I am the Lord Heir apparent. Maybe
Yes.
I should not be a delivery boy. Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Huh.
So how are you going to choose from this riffraff who delivers this message for you? Because you've collected a riffraff of 30 men.
So do we have 15 with us when we left out?
No, those 15 stayed to guard the castle.
Yeah, we didn't have. That's what. Yeah.
Would we have brought Father McKines with us?
That's up to you, Bishop. Would you
I
have brought
think
it?
I would have. I think I would have brought him.
Okay.
So maybe
Okay.
he would be the one that we could send forward.
Okay.
He'd be no threat.
What would you like me to deliver? Is it written? Do you want me to say something? What would you like me to shake?
All I would like you to do,
his lips quiver. He shakes. The idea of
The
approaching.
Lord is with you, Father. Have no fear. Have no fear. You are to go to Baron Ash and just explain to him that we are on our way. We are not threatening, and we have come to discuss, to negotiate some terms with him, and to give him time to make preparations to properly receive us.
Yes. Should I tell him where and when, sir? Will we meet on a neutral field?
No, I thought we were going right there.
Yeah, he should, if he's of a proper blood, he should invite us to be guests at his
Yes.
at his holding. That is the way.
Yes.
Father seems nervous. You're great.
Yes.
Why not send a man with him?
He is.
Yeah, I agree.
A little experience in these things.
Let's see if we can just get send one of the young boys as a retainer to go with him.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, yes. No. Lord,
Okay.
yes.
So, which one of you want to make the roll to bolster him with this? And we'll give you a +1 for the boy you're sending with him.
Mhm.
Who wants to be responsible for preparing him with a statement?
Oh, well, I should.
Okay, so you can make that spirit and prestige together.
Oh, so that adds on to the 10?
Yes, sir.
So that'd be 15 for me then.
And +1 for the boy that you're sending with him to give him some. So 16 and below, sir.
Oh,
We'll give you
Easy
what you
peasy.
want, which is you actually want audience inside the fort with
Yes.
him. Yep.
Yes. All right. That's pretty. That should be 5-4. I rolled a 4. So.
Nice.
All right. Okay.
He sets off on horseback with this boy beside him on the back, and he disappears over the ridge. Again, it's not yet dark, and about the time you've set camp, you've got fires burning, you've got tents up. It turns out these peasants and serfs are again very hard workers. They are people who appreciate your lord. They are happy people. So they are more than willing to do their part, especially when they hear the stories about Shamshire and the fact that that they've lost their kinsmen and Vikings are in that. As darkness falls, you are maybe eating, and Father McInnes arrives, dismounts in a fairly good spirit, and he comes and he immediately dives into the beans, and he's eating, and he approaches all of you. The boy is eating, and he says, "So they greeted me at the wall. They would not allow me in. I told them what we are about and what we want, and they have they sent a man out with this." And he hands you a scroll, Bishop, as he nods. "I have not read it, but he assures me it is an invitation to audience with the Baron and Ulfor. They call him Ulfor the Reckless, and he is a grotesque man." A very large man, painted face. He has something hanging from his beard or his ears, but they call him Ufra the Reckless.
And who is he?
He is a Dane, sir. He is a barbarian.
Wait.
He is the leader of this group.
He's not with the Baron.
Yes.
He stands at the Baron's side.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yes.
I see.
As I say, there's treachery.
They call him the chieftain.
Luther the Dane. Okay. The Reckless. Okay.
We should have a wit about us.
Ulfer the Reckless.
Rabble.
Both for the Reckless. Okay. Now I can read, so I'll have a look at this.
Yeah. It's written beautifully. Clearly, it was written by his scribe or the Baron itself. It's hard to say. You know how that goes in these castles. Nobody ever does their own work, right? But it does say, gives you a time arrive at the palisade with your advisors. Be prepared with silver, and and you all have at least you should have some silver based on your prestige, right? I don't know what all your prestige scores are, but they do start the game with so many silver pieces as well. And
now, how's that work with purse?
So purse is an actual bartering device, so you can use that to barter.
Okay.
But if you have silver, you can add that to your purse, or you can actually spend silver, right?
Oh, okay.
So silver can be added as a bonus to your bartering if you want to barter, or you can just spend silver if you have enough. Just depends on how you want to handle that. But to give you an idea how much silver you have, by the way, what is your prestige again, Bishop?
2.
Yeah. Let me get up here to your prestige. So I think you have 1 silver piece to start the game. Let's double check that. 2 has 1 silver coin. Bayrock, you have 2 silver coins, right?
Yeah.
The Lord, Simon, the boy, has 2 silver coins. And I'm not certain what your prestige is.
2.
Okay, 2. And you have a silver coin. So together you all have like 4 silver coins, which is the average Lord makes about 2 silver coins a year. So you got quite a bit of dough. Okay. I mean, it sounds like nothing, but it's pretty serious.
Okay.
And so he gives you time, and then the weather is good. I mean, in spring, there's a little wet. It's not real warm, but this is northern Ireland, so it is boggy, humid, foggy in the morning as you get up. At daybreak, you Commander, 2 of these serfs come to you, and they tell you that in the night, while they were patrolling and watching the camp, that 2 of these barbarians spied our camp. In the wee hours of the morning, and they've seen them, 2 of them, and they've since left. They had encircled over a quarter-mile area, clearly encircled our camp. All we can say, sir, is we think maybe they are assessing our threat.
Mm-hmm.
Martin, I call Martin over.
Mm-hmm.
I'll write down our current situation, and then I start telling him everything. I feel him that Uthar the Reckless is there, and we've just been spied out, but they've agreed to meet us. And then when he finishes up, I'll say, Commander, you have one of your men to return this to Esselweld.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I will get I've been choosing them based upon their age, so I choose someone younger. Not a very young, child
choice,
but a young man,
right.
Someone that looks like they. And I'll say which one amongst you is fleet of foot.
Yeah.
And whoever will step forward, I'll assess them, and then I'll say you get the honor.
Mm-hmm.
Return this to the castle or the fortress.
Mm-hmm.
And protect it with your life.
Okay, and he says yes. Thank you, Anthony. And he puts it. He secures it. You see him actually secure it, and then he takes off, running across the moors. And not long, you see him disappear into the fog.
Okay.
Do you want the heir apparent to go with you to this fort?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I feel this is folly.
And that is only because I wouldn't, based upon the reconnaissance that the Danes are doing. I don't think I would feel comfortable with having him here with a smaller retinue of untrained men. Mm-hmm. So I think probably he's safer with us.
Okay.
So
if the Danes have scouted our position, is obviously to set us up for an attack. What might be best. So setting pickets about while we're underway. I don't know how far inland they've made it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure they have to stop raids and pillage and break our weapons along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope the Baron isn't as rash as to do something like that.
He would be a fool to do that.
Yes, but if two Danes have spied us,
Mm-hmm.
there's a Dane holding Semshire fortress.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously more than one Dane.
Mm-hmm.
So keep your wits about you. Fear is folly.
So from horseback, you all mount up, obviously looking as royal and prestigious as you can, I'm assuming, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe carrying Esselweld's flag out front.
Yes.
I don't know which one of you want to do that.
I can.
You can do that. Now you're the commander. That's perfect.
Okay.
That's
All right,
that's going to give you a prestige plus. So your prestige now will be, with the gear, will be a +1 to that.
Okay.
Okay. As you hoist that. Okay. So as you ride through the fog and it begins to warm, eventually you hit the long plain as you see the fort. And as you approach, you see where they have mounted the heads of those that they killed when they took the fort on pikes. You can see standing along the palisade. This is a wooden palisade wall, very much like Esselweld. Not as high. This is about 15 feet high. Esselweld's about 18 feet high palisade walls. There is a large palisade door. Nothing is higher than the walls in this fort. So you can't see any buildings. They're all lower than 15 feet as you ride in. I mean, as you top the hill and you're riding down in, you can see some of the small buildings in the fort. But as you get level with it, you can't see beyond that. As you approach, you hear in this dialect you don't understand, Danish, clearly barbarians. The doors swing open, and as you come in, they drop from the walls. 2 or 3 come and grab the bridles of your horses. They arrest the horses, and they have axes, etc. And you see coming out of the main hall, ducking through the door, is a large man. This must be with bones tied in his beard, his painted face. He has no armor on. He's naked to the waist. He's not carrying a weapon, and he speaks in very bad English, and so much so you can't quite understand him. But the gist of it is, come in, off the horses. It's pretty sloppy. Meanwhile, the Baron comes out, and beside him, the Baron looks tiny. However, you've never really met the Baron, so you don't know. Maybe he's short, but from this distance, it makes Ulfr look even bigger. Okay.
It's like a giant.
Yeah.
Okay.
They manhandle you guys past the horses. They take the horses away to somewhere, to a corral or something. The boy, you sense this immediately, Anthony. The boy is shaking a little bit, right? You kind of glance over and you see the young boy is a little bit terrified.
I will put a hand on his shoulder and give him a squeeze, and whisper to him to steel yourself, lad. The eyes of God are watching over you.
Okay. Your prestige is currently what now? 3?
I have plus.
You got a bonus.
1. Yeah, I have 3, and then I've got my advantage point kind of floating around.
You don't have to spin that.
Okay.
3, you don't have to make a roll. So
Okay.
that bucks him up, but that's going to keep him from losing prestige. Okay?
Ah, okay.
So you've just kept him from dropping a point. So
Okay.
he bucks up, but he kind of falls in behind you guys, right? He doesn't want to lead the way here, right? And understand, it's clear he is lordly-like in appearance, in that he has excellent armor, excellent weapons, excellent shield. He's groomed. It's almost impossible to hide the fact that he is a royal to some degree. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So again, he waves you and stomps on the wooden platform. Do not hold me up.
I hold my hand away and pull him away from the ruffian that's touched my robes. I hold my head up and start walking toward him.
Bishop, make a mind check for me, sir.
I shall.
Don't worry about the CV. It's CV 0. You just got to make a mind and below.
Yep. 4.
Okay, so as you're approaching this, you look over to what used to be the chapel, and it has been razed. And on a crucified among the ruins is whoever they're priest used to be.
That's not good.
Okay, their father or somebody who used to be there. You would have known Father Wraith.
Into the mall. Oh.
Father Wraith.
Yep.
So they've decided what they think of your God and your religion, of course, right? Commander, make a quick mind check for me. I want to see how quickly you assess the war or the tactics.
Okay, so I need 11 or less.
Yes, sir.
Mind. And do I have to decide if I'm going to use my advantage point before I roll or after?
It's up to you. It's entirely
okay,
up to
nice.
You. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me roll then. I'll see what I get. I need 11 or less, and I get a 10, so I won't.
Nice. You quickly assess there are no Baron's men. The guys wearing tabards that your soldier Thomas thought were partially Baron's men, they're Vikings in the Baron's tabards. So half of these Vikings are half of these Dane barbarians are in their normal garb, furs, etc. Some of them have been wearing these tabards. And you see, as you're approaching, you do quickly assess. Oh, there are no Baron's men here, and he pushes the Baron in the chest out of his way when you guys walk up the.
There
platform.
you go. Okay. And
he smiles. He has like one tooth. You can quickly see this is 48, 50 some odd year old man. He is. That's a surprise, right? You're not accustomed to seeing warriors of this stature, this age. Yeah. He's big, probably 6'5", 6'6". He is clearly scarred. He has seen many a raid, probably. And then he waves his big hand to let you in, and then he says to the Baron, "Fall in line, Ashless. You will see how we do business, as you already know," and he follows you in.
I over rations. Does he look? Is he haggard? Does he look like he's been abused at all?
He's got bloodied. He's got a split lip, bloodied. He's to be quite honest, he won't make eye contact with any of you. He looks like he's been thrown around. He's been in the mud. His tabard is dirty. You notice he's missing 2 fingers. His hand has been wrapped. This would have been his signet ring finger, right? Gone. And it's clear that he lost the negotiation with this guy.
Yeah, if there was a negotiation, yeah.
I'm not paying any attention to him. No him at all.
Okay.
These things. And I walk in there and I have a seat very casually. When he tells me to speak, okay?
Hanging from the rafters. And in here are plenty of barbarians. They're all around. They're eating. They're laughing. They're acting like jackasses. Meanwhile,
I'm just here to discuss. It's like I'm not letting anything rattle me.
Right. Okay. And hanging from the ceiling are some of these people they clearly abused and killed and gamed with, or did their thing with, right? And there is a large table, and it is full of food, etc. And he comes around as you sit, Bayrock. He circles around quickly and takes a seat at the head of the table. Kicks the chair out and bam, Alfred sits at the head of the table. He makes sure none of you beat him to this spot, right? So he's clearly decided that part of the table is the superior place to be. And the Baron, he motions to one of his men, and you see him grab the Baron and manhandle the Baron down into a stool on the far side of the room. He's not involved in this, as he motions for you all to sit, and he looks at the Bayrock like, how dare you sit before I tell you. He doesn't say anything to you, but he gives you a look, frowns at you. So you are here to give yourselves up to Ulfric, yes?
We're here to broker peace, great warlord. We are sent from from King Esselweld.
Kings? You have lots of kings here, King Esselweld. I've never heard of King Esselweld.
Yes, it's indeed a lot of kings in this land. You are correct.
But the Baron tells me of this King Esselweld.
Yes, we know you're mighty warriors, but you usually you come from a far land, and you raid. But it's quite odd that you take over residence here. How long have you been in this keep?
No, we arrived last spring.
Last spring.
We have already stayed one of your full winters, and I might add they are nothing compared to the winters in my homeland. We are here. We are farming. We are here to stay, and we will take what we want.
Farming? Are there not fish in the sea? What men would toil in the land when the fish was bounty?
We have been through the sea. We are from the sea. We are now here. We will farm. Matter of fact, your people will teach us how to do this. You look like you could dig well in the dirt there, holy man.
It is indeed hard. Not very.
I am barely containing my anger. I am so upset with how Father Wraith was murdered by these people. So I will just glower at him. Glower, yes, glower.
You men of God, you men of God have a false courage, I believe. You invested in this pacifist god. It will do you no good here. And you look like a warrior. And who is the young man with you?
I look at this Ulfert and I say, what makes you think that the people of these lands will just allow you to come here and do as you please?
He looks about and he says something in Danish, and all these barbarians laugh. And he looks back and he says, "Why are here? The fact that we are here tells you that your people let us do what we will. And your Baron, look at him. How do you think we ended up here?"
I turn to the Baron and look at him and see if he'll make eye contact.
Yeah, he looks at and then he kind of looks away down toward the floor, pulls his wounded hand up to his chest. The boy, you can hear the boy move around in his armor behind you, kind of fidgeting. He's not sitting at the table; he's standing behind you.
Okay. I raise a hand and point towards the Baron, and I say, unfortunately, the man that sits there does not represent, or I'll say, no, fortunately, the man that sits there does not represent those of us who are much more stout of heart and spirit. What did you offer him besides besides the point of your sword?
I offered him his life, and look at him, he lives. What does that tell you?
That tells me that he did not value these lands or his people more so than he does his neck.
That's right.
That is why you shall not raise these lands anymore, because those that sit before you and those that wait in your path behind us, we love these lands, these people, and our Lord.
Yes, we are growing to love these lands. Well, why are you here?
But great Ulfar, indeed you are both warriors. But why war when you can broker peace? I do not understand why you would come onto the land. We need men such as our grace here to give us patience, to work the land over many seasons, to bring forth. But the sea is bountiful.
We take we are here to negotiate. We take what we want. Now,
why work when you can take from us?
What is it you want from me?
If we give you tribute, perhaps yearly you could.
Yes. Now we speak silver. 10 silver will buy your lives. But
great Ulfar, we have to work the land to bring forth the tribute. So a yearly tribute could be brokered this way.
And what is that? Tell me what that would be.
Instead
for
of
what?
you working
For
the
me
land,
not for me not taking your castle? For me What do you want for this yearly tribute?
Yes, you can go raise other lands.
You have just sold out your neighbors. I like you. Yes, you will pay tribute, and I will raise the lands I choose to raise. Yes.
Anthony,
no.
he snaps his head towards Bayrock at that remark, but he holds his tongue, because it's not necessarily my place, I guess, to interrupt this, but I do not like the way this has turned at all.
No.
So you want to pay tribute? What tribute would that be?
I say that is our liege's decision, unfortunately, not Bayrock's alone. Isn't that correct?
So then why are you here? Why is your liege not here? Boy, I suspect you, boy, you probably know more of this. And he just kind of, you hear him shuffle back 2 steps. He says something in Dane again, and all these guys erupt and laughed, and they throw bread and chicken bones and things at the boy.
Oh, really? Oh, that's not good. I turn to John and I say, tell these barbarians, tell them why the people of Lord Esselweld do not abandon hope and abandon our own kind. And I nod at him and to show him I'm confident that he
his eyes grow big. He looks around. You see his lip tremble as he.
Come on, kid.
Yes. I am indeed the future heir apparent of Esselweld lands, and we do represent my father, and we are here. To parley with you, not for peace, but for treaty. We need you to help us wage war against new invaders. And then he looks around, and Ulfric looks and looks about all 3 of you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want what do you want? So you are here for what? To recruit me?
We see.
Advise you.
Yes. Go ahead.
Advise you if perhaps you can get from us, if you relieve a scourge for us at Grantham Hall, perhaps. If you can eliminate that scourge, then we can work that land and increase your tribute.
10 silver, you pay tribute, and we can work together.
10 silver, but you must understand, Lord Ofar, that we do not have this amount right now. This is an agreement that we can build together.
I make no agreements written in the future, as I cannot predict the future.
Yes, but it will turn over a profit quicker than working a land. We work long, we work tall. We can oversee the serfs.
I would also let me interrupt here for a moment, my friend, but I would also ask that in return for this tribute, these heathens renounce their gods and accept the Lord Christ as their savior.
Oh,
nice.
Ulfric looks at you and
makes sense.
His lip curls. He kind of trembles a little bit, and he says, "Your God is for your weak-minded people. You beg me. You come here. You beg me. I know where your God lay. You grovel at my feet, and you talk of your God. No, that won't happen. 8 silver pieces, and I will help you defeat this. Who is the chieftain of this new force? Do you know?"
Chieftain is no. Do you speak, Lord Norwell, of the other?
You said that there are current invaders. Do you know who their chieftain is?
No. In fact, we came here to see if you could let us know. We assumed that you were that they were your men.
We have been here a year. No. We were raiding last year.
Yes, as we discovered, but it seems that some of your kind is plotting over the area, raising what you should be raising, stealing from your bounty.
We have done so from the south. We landed upon this baron here who had nothing, and he brought us to Sameshire, promised us Esselweld. Is that not right, Ashens? And he moans, and they bat him about the head a little bit.
But all for
King Ulfer.
But all for if you have not went as far north as you could, and I dare say that you would reach much resistance there, because there are other kinds of from your race.
So what would you pay me per year? Who wants to make this prestige or this purse check?
I
don't think I would.
Okay, so this would be a barter, right? A first barter check.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I'm going to offer 2 coins, and as with the removal of Grantham Hall and the lands pertaining there around.
So you're giving plus 2 silver,
that, and
you'll give him Grantham Hall.
No, if he takes Grantham Hall Forest, we can then work the fields. Offer.
What, you want to give him Grantham Hall?
And increase the tribute. No. He can get rid of our.
Okay, so right now you're going to give him plus 2 silver. You want him to, in exchange for removing the threat at Grantham Hall.
Then it'll when he does, it'll increase to 4 per year.
So you want to pay him how much per year?
But would we rather have him at Grantham Hall than right next door, so to speak, here at Ashens?
What I'm wanting to do, offer, is pay you 2 right now.
Yeah.
And when you go and we take over that area, then we can work it next year and increase it the bounty to 4.
You want to pay me? You're going to pay me 4 silver a year.
Yeah, after the lands of Grantham Hall more are cultivated.
4 silver per annum.
Yep.
Yeah, Grantham Hall.
Is this agreeable?
Okay. Yes,
Okay.
And you do not want my aid for this incoming invaders. These invaders. Is that not why you're here?
Yeah. Yes, indeed, because they are a threat as well. That they will raise your.
So you want to ally?
That we need.
Okay.
The people that we need to work these fields. Really, tell your brethren to go.
Okay.
These lands are building tribute for you.
I already see what could potentially happen.
Okay, so plus 2 silver right now. Plus 4 for future profits, which I'm only gonna count as a plus 2 because again, you don't believe in the future, right? So plus 2, minus 1 for asking him to remove the threat, minus 1 for ally, right? So that's gonna be a plus 2 to your purse to win him.
Can I give Dell my advantage point?
Absolutely. Now, narrate how you help persuade.
Okay. I will lean forward and I will say that this agreement will since you have left your homeland for reasons of your own, this agreement will allow you and your people to flourish in these lands and reap the bounties that lie therein.
Ooh, that's good. Yes. Awesome.
So
that's awesome.
right.
So that's plus 1. How about you, Bishop? Do you have any stirring words to influence here?
I want them to renounce their heathen gods.
Oh,
-5.
you know, I let's make a spirit roll to see if that alienates him.
Okay. I'm still pissed about
Hit him in the forehead with
I don't-
that holy
hey,
water.
this
No,
is-
totally understand.
This is character play, baby. You should be mad.
Oh no.
Okay.
I rolled a 17. Yeah.
Okay, so that unfortunately negated David's +1. So
Oh, well.
you got a +2 added to your purse, sir. So
Repent.
Please, your grace.
he started to say, I may have a new kinfolk. And then you said, but you got to become Christian. No, that I don't do. Okay, Dale.
Yeah, but as His grace says, we need the Lord to instill us with the patience to work these lands. And please
boy.
do not the monasteries. Leave them alone.
Oh.
And the priests and we can fuel the people to work these lands and pay you tribute, and it can all be harmonious. All right, you want me to roll?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, don't roll a 20, brother.
Oh, 6.
Oh, nice.
Oh, good. Okay.
He thinks for a minute. He tugs onto the bones tied in his beard. He looks at the
Don't you
bishop.
miss the call of the sea.
He looks at the bishop and points as if he wants to say something, and then he looks about, and in Dane he says something, and they all stir quietly and say something to each other back and forth, and then he stands up at the table and pounds it. We have a deal, and he reaches across and grabs the Brahan by the robes and pulls him in and smacks him on the ear like that's a we have a deal. And he says something in Dane, and they all cheer, and they come over with drink and food, pushing the bishop out of the way, manhandling the bishop away from the table. Two of them pick up the young lord and hoist him out, carry him out, and throw him in the dirt. They kind of wrestle him around in the mud and the dirt.
Okay.
And he says, "Now you feast with us, you break bread with us, and this signs our contract."
Okay, and I'd slid the 2 silver pieces in front of me toward him. All right.
Yeah, those are greedily grabbed and deposited in his into a pouch tied to his waist.
Mm-hmm.
And they bring food, etc. They are, they're not stupid people, but they're not raised like you guys are, right?
Please, your grace. Let's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This goes on for a couple hours. You might be exhausted because you never know if you're going to upset these guys. You see fights break out. You see a couple actually end up in a knife fight. It's nuts as these guys drink and these guys throw celebration. Meanwhile, the Baron is left sitting alone through much of this. So if any of you want a chance to talk to the Baron, this would be a perfect time during these celebrations.
I will.
Himself. He is. Yes, he's surrendered himself.
He surrendered. Okay, I'll make it a point to kind of quote unquote casually make my way over to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I will pull up a seat and sit down next to him, and I will look, sitting next to him. I will keep my eyesight straight ahead, and I will say, you realize that you have betrayed not only your people, but Esselweld as a whole. Do you not?
He looks at you. He goes, you were not in my shoes. You cannot understand what I faced.
And what have you gained in letting these barbarians opening the doors of our lands to these barbarians? What have you earned? What have you gained from this? What did they promise you?
I have lost everything. I have gained nothing. including my my integrity,
Your honor.
my honor.
So if you have lost everything, including your honor, what have you to live for?
I do not. What do you suggest I do?
I reach down in my surcoat and pull out a dagger, and I give it to him, and I say, "You will take this," and I lean closer to him, and I say, "You will either plunge it." Ooh, yeah, this is good. Now, okay. I just had to think a moment and find my character's bearing. I won't say what I want to say. I will say you will do what you think is best to add some honor to your to the Ashen's name before you sully it any further. How you do so, I shrug and I say, I leave that last and final decision up to you.
He takes the dagger and looks at you. So I'm going to give you a roll. You can choose any of your 4 attributes you want to use to convince him to do what you want him to do. Okay? So I don't care if that's body, mind, spirit, or prestige. Right? As he looks at you, he holds this dagger. During this celebration, there's barbarians screaming, yelling, and partying, and the bishop sits contemplating how he can have the wrath of God strike this man dead, of course, right? No, I don't know. So, which of your 4 attributes would you press upon him in your authority?
I think it would have to be prestige.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. If I'm understanding the stats correctly.
Yep. And you were the flag bearer, so that's a +1.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Right, you were the flag bearer, so you have a +1 there. I mean, you are upholding exactly what he didn't uphold, right?
Yeah.
You're appealing to his loss with yours.
Yeah. And I'm torn as well because this can have ramifications either way. It's hard to know how these Danes would react to certain circumstances because they seem to be very volatile in their nature. But that's probably because we just don't understand their ways. But these Danes may be the worst of the Danes, so I'm not sure.
Well, you can tell from how they've talked to him, treated him. They have zero. He's dead. To them. He's already dead. To them. Yeah. They literally do not think he's of any value.
I tell him that I spread my hands before me and I say there is no place for you in Lord Esselweld's I don't know what to call it, his plan.
Yeah.
As you have lost your people and your holdings and your honor.
Awesome. So you just have to now. So you're convincing him to take the honorable route and kill himself.
And I kind of honestly, I kind of want to leave it in his hands.
Well, the roll would kind of determine.
That.
Would it? Okay.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
There's a reason, right?
Okay.
So,
all right.
It's up to, you don't have to roll. You can just say, I'm just going to.
Well, I would like to. I really want to see where this goes. I'm curious to see. And that's kind of like why I'm kind of leaving it kind of vague.
Yeah.
So I will. Lastly, I will say in I say as the bishop already feels as though your soul is forfeit. I will say that what you decide to do next will hang eternal upon the Ashen's legacy. Okay, so all right, so I'll make a roll.
Whew.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
This is a repute point for you, sir. You get a repute point.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
And that
Cool.
can be spent immediately, permanently toward any of your attributes.
Oh,
you
wow.
You just
Okay.
leveled up to level 8, basically.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank
Oh,
you, sir.
cool. Okay.
Thank you.
And now that can be added permanently to any of your 4 attributes, and you still can make the roll is it's an epic moment. Period.
Oh, wow.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right. I will add it to mind, I think.
Okay.
Because
So now that
That is
permanently
what-
goes up to
Yeah.
2, I think, right?
yes.
Okay.
Mind
And now you are a repute 8
2.
character.
Okay.
Total of 8 points in your attributes. Sweet.
Okay.
Nice. That's how you score repute. I love it.
Okay.
Ah,
So I'm rolling prestige, so I need a 12 or less.
Yes, and he is a destroyed person, so
Ooh.
he's at -2 CV. So
Okay.
you're technically adding 2 more. He's such a wrecked human being. So
Okay, so is that a modifier to the roll, or is that target is my?
no? It's so you add that.
It
You'll
adds
add
to
his
you.
-2 to your slide.
Okay.
So you're at
14 or
16,
less.
I guess. Or
Oh,
you were at
14.
12. Okay, 14.
Yeah, 14 or less. Yes.
14 or less.
All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. 5.
Sweet. Okay,
Okay.
so he is. Now this is what I was already thinking, but if you failed, there was going to be a particular thing. You succeeded.
Okay. Okay.
These are the things he can either quietly leave and kill himself. I'm going to leave this to your narration,
Okay.
or would he take that dagger and attempt to kill?
I think that's what he was implying.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
the film
I want you.
itself.
You now are going to narrate what he does.
Okay. So, he's a broken man right now.
Mhm.
So I would say that perhaps his tactical judgment would probably not be very sound.
Mhm.
So instead of waiting for a more prime opportunity to perhaps do harm to Unfer the Reckless,
Mhm.
he will attempt to do so now
Oh,
at the
shit.
height of this party.
Okay, so we need to roll. This is combat.
Yeah.
So he stands up. Again, you charge him into this fray. So make a combat roll for him. Now he is a CV normally would be 6, so he's at 4 because he's a broken man. So
Mhm.
you get a 14 and below
Okay.
attack. Oh, and actually, I'm sorry, he's
Yeah, I gotta go with combat value.
I forgot Ulfer. Ulfer's a 7, so he's -3. So 1 to 7, he would
Oh,
do
boy.
damage to
Okay. okay.
Ulfer.
So Baron Ashen's he takes the dagger, he stands, he contemplates
In this
for a
noise,
moment.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
And we kind of maybe zoom in on his face, and he kind of actually looks emotionless.
Hmm.
And then we kind of see the dagger being he has a white knuckle grip,
Mhm.
on the dagger as he kind of holds it tight to his chest.
Yeah.
And he begins kind of like an unsteady walk towards Ulfer,
Yes.
who is sitting at the end of the table,
Yeah.
boisterous,
Yeah.
clapping his hands, has food in his beard,
Yeah.
and then the Baron yells and rushes towards him.
Nice.
So, okay.
Woo.
All right. So 7 or less.
Yes, sir.
We'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see. No, 17.
Okay,
No.
so
Well,
you're
that makes
watching
sense,
this
though.
in this
That
fray,
makes sense.
and
Yeah.
Ulford, the yell, he is, again, all of you see why this
Mhm.
man at 50 is still chieftain. He catches him immediately with a
Mhm.
big hand, and throttles him and pitches him across the table
Oh, wow.
onto his head for a wound. He's So again, he's up now. He smiles, and everybody clears back, and they're cheering now in Dane, some kind of Dane chant. And he circles, and he reaches down and grabs him. So again, you need to make another combat roll. So combat is we just narrate back and forth. This is combat.
Okay.
So he picks him up by the throat. You roll now to see if he stabs him or if he gets choked, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, because we roll for everything.
So we're in combat. Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
As everybody's watching. Yep.
Okay. And same seven or less. Okay.
Always 7 or less with this guy right now.
6.
Oh, so he drives the dagger into the arm, maybe, or or stabs him in the. Okay. And Ulfred at this point smiles, and laughs. They all go oh, as they see him drive this dagger in, and then he pitches him again across the room, bouncing on the table. Roll again for now. Again, you might want to narrate how he gets up and continues to charge, or
he kind of, I guess, throws him like a side of beef onto one of the tables. The mugs of ale or wine or whatever go flying,
right?
Nice. Soiling, the Danes there, but they seem to revel in it. The Baron, he seems to just be kind of in a blind, if not desperate, rage. He scrambles to his feet, slides up the table, and once again throws himself pretty much at the Dane.
Make a roll.
Yeah, no sense of combat expertise or anything. Desperation at this point. And I'll just say that he's and we just hear just kind of like the sound of just rage coming from his voice. Nothing legible.
Right.
Okay. 12. So that's a miss.
Ulfred, as he charges in, Ulfred grabs him, and you see him wrench his left shoulder out of its socket as he picks him up by that arm and kind of swings him around, sets him down. And you see him and you can see now he's on death's door, right? I mean, he's already been beaten, etc., but he's still standing with his dagger.
Okay, all right.
And they all cheer as and then they'll stop, pause for a second, like what's going on, and then they'll cheer again. Right.
Okay.
Right. They've never seen a fight like this. It's like a child trying to fight a man. Right.
The Baron actually looks towards me, and we see eye to eye, and then he turns probably for the last time and goes towards the Dane. 20.
Oh yeah.
Did I call it or did I?
You did. Oh my God, yes. So the Dane, as he charges in, the Dane grabs that hand, wrenches it around, and stops him dead. Grabs him and picks him up as he drives his own hand and dagger into him, and then pulls up. And you see him as he basically uses his own hand to cut himself from groin to sternum. And everybody goes cheers, and then stops dead as he sets him down. He props him in the seat.
Oh gosh!
And leaves him sit there with his own hand and dagger stuck in his chest, and they all cheer.
Wow!
But yeah, unfortunately, the Baron has done his due. Meanwhile, he's bleeding pretty good from this left arm wound. And then he looks around and says, something in Danish, and they all again cheer. And we will fade to black on Act 2. Now, we wanted a hard stop, correct, gentlemen? Right? So we can hopefully in future we can do Act 3, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So let's stop it there, fade to black on Act 2, and we'll get to Act 3 next time, right?
All right.
Awesome.
Cool.
Now, do you have a minute or so to give us some feedback? What do you think, gents? Kind of hard to play a character that's already kind of established in the world as an advisor. Was that okay?
Oh yeah. Just getting used to it. That's all.
Yeah.
But I like the system. What I've seen of it so far.
Okay.
Pretty intuitive, easy to pick up.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
The setting, of course, I love historical settings.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So that's great. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. if you want me to pick at something, I don't think.
Oh
I can...
no, I just
no,
curious,
I'm kind of like,
yeah.
like, is there something like go, wow, and I can't,
Right.
so
right.
So no, I think you got something good here.
Okay.
And I could definitely see running this.
Oh yeah.
Myself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The one thing I think you can do is run or play this. Anyone who has any experience would easily be able to run or play this. Because it is character driven, narration driven. The attributes are called into play, but very intuitively.
Yeah.
Right. So, what about you, David? What did you think? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Todd.
Did I miss? Did you put up a copy of your?
No, we're tightening up and proofing it before we'll give individuals. We want them to be able to read something that's not totally a mess.
Okay,
it's done. I mean, for the most part, there's a few rules we'll add, right, Del? But in playtesting, we'll will out some of this stuff.
Playtesting with y'all is going to inform what we do. Continually.
We still haven't had. I had thought this session we might get to major combat, which would be mob based, big time, high level combat, math wise. I just didn't get there, and that's. I'm never going to force anything. It's just we're going to play. We're not going to purposely contrive to playtest something. It'll have to come up because it comes up.
The bishop was getting ready to swing his mace.
I was going to ask you when you're playing more, because we don't stop so much for tabulation of system processes. So did it allow you to feel a little bit more in character as we played? Because we all had different. We're playing across the thing here. I'm more of an advisor, a financial advisor. I got my brain, and I'm thinking, we're about to die here. I know you're pissed off because I if I was playing your thing. Yeah. I was like, oh, how is he going to react? So I saw you naturally kind of play off of that. And Dave was like, okay, y'all calling us pussies? We're about to, you better throw down. You know what I mean? So I'm like, please. So there were various points of view to where we was trying to approach this guy because it was horrible.
Yeah. I really like the kind of the organic, nature of things, but I'm a sucker for that anyway. That's just how I like to play. And I really don't have any issues with like pre-gens or anything like that.
Right.
To me, I had just enough information to allow me to kind of get a feel for the character, and the way we've been playing also. Kind of allows me to kind of work on them as we go, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Normally we wouldn't do pre-mades. You guys would make characters.
But that's
But I wanted to test higher level.
Yeah. But just I'm just saying in general.
You still find that character as you play and you get in.
No one's and no one's going to play them the same way, right?
Right. Exactly.
We switch around.
That's true.
Take different characters next time, and we'd be playing them differently.
That's right.
And I like the way that in this instance that the setting kind of it kind of, I don't want to say forces you, but it kind of well, because of your alliances, because of your prestige. You are kind of expected to act within certain parameters and kind of do certain things because of that. And I kind of like that because you kind of have to, as a player, you kind of have to figure out, well, how's my character going to kind of negotiate this and kind of get the things done that he or she wants to get done without stepping on too many toes. And I really like that because it's challenging.
You're going to stay within these guardrails.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's,
as far as this setup,
I don't see it as a constraint.
No.
Right.
So you're saying setting informs play.
Yes, exactly.
What makes you raise your game on, especially this higher level of play, I think.
Right. I mean,
and that's what we want. I mean, it's a feudalistic, class-based society, so it should inform your play a little bit.
And from a mechanical point of view or perspective, it's really interesting because you feel very mortal. So this is not by any means a super heroic system, which I like because that also affects your decisions as a character, if not a player. So I really like that. I felt as though the mechanics that we experienced were very simple, which is good. That's a positive. Very easy to understand and interpret. So yeah, I'm intrigued for sure.
So the $64,000 question. Do you think the mechanics of the dice system are super simple, right? That doesn't inform play. But do you feel the attributes inform your character and inform play, or do you feel they're too vague? They're not enough of them, or too vague?
No. See, I'm.
So I mean, so you think you can draw a character from that?
This is right up my alley.
Yep.
I mean, this was good for what I prefer. The games that I prefer are pretty much,
So you can use those attributes to inform your character and how you play them. Okay, good.
Yes.
How about
definitely.
you, Todd? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm the same agreement. Just looking at these numbers here, and it makes total sense to me. I
was telling my wife, like, old D&D has 6 attributes that you never. They can inform your character, but they don't really affect play. Here, our attributes literally affect play.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they also are a good enough gauge to tell you, how you, from one character, one person to another, kind of where you gauge your ability, versus that, which is fine. I mean, it's to the point. I don't, that's fine. I'm not losing anything by, I don't need 30 attributes to,
Yeah, because your body is anything to do with
it's
like
ability
and strength. It's just all it is a narrative prompt to see which way that can fall.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really
and the dice mechanic is literally just your success ratio informed by your role play or by your attributes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even need it. It gives you, I think, liberty to not stop and then look at something, but just to stay
that I like.
Yes, you're not spending your time looking at your page.
Yeah, I'm not flipping through 5 pages of my character sheet saying, okay, what do I, and that's
that's fine, but
I'm just saying,
not my cup of tea.
That's a different game. That's a different game.
It is. It is.
Exactly.
I'm not,
because our biggest thing is like the math. I already told Del, the math system is bounded to the D20, so we can't break it.
Okay.
All we can do is discover that, if somebody's high level with weapons, etc., that could affect the probability. Well, we at least have critical success and critical failure, so we have that bounded D20. So then the question is, would people feel like that's their character? When they look at those attributes and they know how to play them and they know they can use mind or prestige or and do they feel like that? Do you feel like a bishop looking at those numbers? If you want it to be, and that's I think, and David, I think you answered that question.
But I feel as though the stats are just the literal skeleton of my character. That's it.
Yep.
I think everything else is dependent upon me and my interpretation.
And that's that's
I could be a priest with these stats probably, or anything a blacksmith with those stats. But I think that the meat of the character is.
So the system is without class or levels. We have repute, which just grades how many attribute points you have. So you can make. You can't be a knight without a high prestige.
I mean, the combat, that's obvious. But I'm just saying, as for the body, mind, and spirit, and the prestige, and even the health. I mean, that's,
And then gear will influence all that. Like the gear of the flag gives you a prestige bonus.
Yeah, and I like that.
If you were climbing with a rope, that gives you +1 to your body to climb a difficult climb. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
So is gear typically, or not even? Well, I mean, gear like you said, a rope. The banner I had, is it typically just a +1?
Yes.
Are there so
now
usually
they can be blessed or they can be holy, which would give you bigger bonuses.
Okay.
So for instance, before you go into battle, the bishop can actually bless your weapons and give you all another bonus.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like
he has to successfully bless them, but he can bless them.
And what would I would use spirit to do that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
See?
And if you
There
have
go.
holy water, that's a +1. If you
Right,
had a
right.
holy symbol, that's a +1. So you would
Right.
be able to bless their weapons with holy oil, holy water, anoint their weapons, and give them a bonus for combat.
Now I've
Yeah.
got one. I've got one question.
sir.
Mechanically speaking, now in some systems, I think that once your I don't know, modifier or bonus or total hits a certain threshold,
Yep.
does it, like, if I ended up getting a +10, does that really mean anything? It's still just a roll. It's not an automatic success.
Oh
or
yeah,
it's not a,
we
you
do
guys have
take
anything
we do
like
do
that?
automatic successes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But that's on the director's discretion. Like I think something happened in our game where I gave automatic success. I think it was
Okay.
the bishop.
Oh, okay.
Didn't
okay.
I gave somebody an automatic success?
Yeah, it's something. I think if everybody has that trust and it's narratively
Okay.
spelled at the table where you go like that's going to work. But if there's a question, that's when you roll when you say
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
what's going to happen.
And remember that +10. So let's say you're fighting.
I mean, I'm sure that's an extreme example, but that's
Well,
what I was
no,
going
I mean
for,
that's why
you know?
we're testing because we need
Okay.
to find out, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
we
to
know.
give you an example, let's say you have, let's say the max attribute you can have is 4.
Mhm.
And you can
Okay.
only have 2 4s in your entire career. So the most points your character. So at level 10, your character's maxed.
You only get level.
So David's
Okay.
character earned a repute. He
Right.
could put that repute in anything that wasn't already. So once something's a 4, you can't go any higher. Now
Okay.
that 4 can go up with gear. It can go up with swords, equipment, etc. Right? Okay. So let's say you did have a +8, for instance. But you remember you might be facing a vampire that's at CB10.
That's true. Yeah.
So that
When you
CV
roll
score
one
will
day.
lower that plus. So you got +10. You're at, oh man, I can only fail on a 20. That's true. But the
Okay.
vampire's a 10 brings that +8 back down to
Down
12.
to. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
All right.
So when you're
Okay,
fighting
okay.
a dragon, for instance, I think a dragon is 12 or 15 CV.
Oh wow. Okay.
So then you would need soldiers. Like the goal of this is you're never going to face the dragon alone. It's going to
Alone,
be you
yeah.
4 plus a mob of
Mhm.
soldiers. So you guys had with those 30 soldiers, a mob is 5 max. You guys had 6 mobs. So if this ended up a combat with these Vikings,
Mm-hmm.
there would have been 6 units that
Okay.
were
Okay.
mobs.
That'd be interesting. See,
Yeah.
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 So
Okay.
they become mobs, and then you end up like that. So if there's ever a war, for instance, we just break all those units into mobs,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And then we can make one roll for your combat. So I would assign a mob to you, David, and a mob. You guys would roll your normal, narrate your fight with your character, but if you succeed, that mob also does damage or something, right? So
Okay.
we can. It's totally flexible how you want
Okay.
to do it.
See, and even when we're playing like Todd was wanting to convert him, that could be potentially possible. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
If we got him,
Yep.
you could have got him drunk a little bit and
Yep.
talked to him and maybe rolled
Yep.
your spirit.
Yes.
Things
Okay.
happen.
Yeah,
That's
Todd,
why-
you
everybody's
definitely
informed.
could have swayed him. You were choosing to sway him during a very intense
Yeah.
Yeah,
negotiation, right?
Yes, I know.
So it
That
was
wasn't
harder.
the best
It was
time
harder.
to do it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
harder.
yeah.
You should have cracked. You should have cracked him on the knuckles with a ruler. You know.
Right.
That's what I think. That's what the game does more so than just be a
Right.
combat grinder.
Right.
Mhm.
So I get to like my character. I know when we walked in there, I was like, we were walking in the I knew it was a folly to even
Right.
follow this in the first
Right.
place. As far as my character,
Mhm.
and that's just justification. Oh yeah, we're in the middle of the shit. We're going to get taken out.
Mhm.
And that's what I was trying to do, but I've got an alternate plan because I don't want to lose any money. I'm responsible for all the money around here. You think I'm going to be giving money out like that? But in game, I'm looking at Todd's character
Right.
going, please calm down, but no one can.
Right.
And you're wanting to start a fight. I'm like, now's not the time. Let's
Right.
attack when Achilles heel.
Well, and
I'm enraged.
yeah,
you know-
and that was part like the prologue setup. I gave you all kind of the idea of how you're going to start, so you could get into a mind state of what this is going to start like. And I put 2 sets of 3 characters in front of Todd, wondering if he might recruit the soldiers to do the Holy Relic, or if he might recruit the bandits to go with the Holy Record. I kind of thought Todd might actually recruit these dirty doers to go get the Holy Relic. But that's what I love about Play to Find Out. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
there. I don't know what Todd will do, but I thought I'm going to put 2 I'm gonna put kind of a gentry class here and bandit class.
I totally left that because
you didn't have to. Again, you didn't have to.
I didn't have to. I didn't have to at this time. There were more pressing things at the moment.
Yes,
but that's for another day, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So.
But I thought that was kind of fun to see what would Todd do. So I kind of put that in that prologue, wondering it'd be interesting to see how people do this. Because again, high level play to me is I want it to be superhero play. I want it to be actual different responsibilities.
Yes.
Right. So I thought that would be kind of fun too, and I thought it went great. I mean, I enjoyed it, and again, I want to thank you guys for taking your gambling your Friday night on a play test. Right.
All right, cool.
A lot of fun.
I think two real things, quick guys. The repute point, just like you got that repute point, David, to Smith. That's how they would be given, just with some kind of a big point on the character. And you go, this is a aha moment.
Yeah.
It's clearly, oh crap, I'm drawing a freaking blank. Jason, do you want to tell them? I mean, because this is the first time we've ever did this game with the stage.
So in the first session playtest, there was a moment which Dell could have scored a repute point. He gave to a man who had nothing left. He would survive the flood. All he had left was his rowboat. He was dragging it through the mud, and he fell down, and he gave up. And Dell's character came over and gave him 5 copper, said, just forget it, rebuild your life, here's some point. And the man asked him, what's your name? And Dell said, don't worry about it, rebuild your life. If he had told him his name, I would have given him a repute point like that.
It just works
because the old man would have later told tales of Amir what this man did for him. Well, you got a repute point, not because it was also epic, but everyone, for the most part, witnessed it.
Okay.
So these people will tell the tale of this Baron, and instigated by you giving your dagger to him, right? So to score a repute, there has to be witness to it to some degree.
Okay. Got it.
Right? Now, there can still be those moments of personal movement that would maybe score a repute, but repute has to actually be associated with people being able to tell your tale, right?
Okay.
So that's
good to know.
Cool, right?
Okay.
Right, and also you can get repute for, like, if we were in our third session and you guys finally fought the Vikings and won, you would all get a repute point. Okay. So there could be also multiple sessions. Everybody gets a repute point because you guys busted your butts for 3 sessions to achieve this goal.
But it just kind of happens organically, and even with the players, you almost have a little narrative. You have a narrative leeway, like when Todd was saying, "Oh yeah, he came to confession a week ago." You could just kind of flow with it because nothing's going to break the game.
That's right. Nothing would break it. Yep.
Yeah.
And Jason, when we normally play, this is the first time we did it in Acts.
Yeah.
But we normally just have a little seed chart, literally like you just roll a dice and say, what's going on next?
Yeah. So Dell and I developed a naive narrator random seed. We did. We've had like 9 sessions using naive narrator random seed generation for all gaming.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing for this. And we decided we'd also try the scene concept. I don't have any random charts. There were no random rolls. I just set kind of these scenarios and then let you guys run and play. And normally there would be a seed that could crop up that could affect events, right? So again, if we do a playtest too, and I would greatly appreciate if we could finish this, we'll stick with this axe, and then but. The reality is, man, I've run how many sessions naive narrator with our random seed, and I tell you what, as a GM, it's the most joy I've ever had because it's total player agency, but it's also liberating for me as a GM, right? It allows this organically to happen, which is I have never experienced before in 40 years.
Well, I tried that when I started in mine there, with the hex crawls and putting just random charts.
Yeah.
I had no, I don't know what you guys are gonna. It's the same. It is the same sort of thing.
It's similar to a hex crawl, right? Or random, or wandering. The difference is it is so vague that there's no answer. So like ours might say flood. That's it. But that flood could be anything I put into play.
I see.
Right. So ours is literally meant to be so vague that the GM has to actually improvise. Once we put it into truth, we put it into play, then the characters decide whether that flood means a damn thing or not. What I've learned as a GM is all that matters is what the characters and the players decide is important. So if I think a dragon's important as the GM, I may find out I got a table of 6 guys that say we don't give a shit about your dragon. So what's the point? How about you just say there's a dragon about and let them decide if it's important?
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think players have more agency that way. Mm-hmm. And I think it's organic play because they'll decide what's important to them, and then they'll work. What's different is the playtest here with 3 players, because Dell might have an agenda and Todd might have an agenda. That's where we're playtesting, because that could get a little weird, right? With if
we
players
kinda
can't
experience that a little bit, because when we're talking to him and he's like, "What would you do?" And Todd spoke up and said, "I'm with David. We should go." And I'm like, I wouldn't have did that. In fact, it was the king who said, "Yeah, do that." I'm like, I'm gonna get my stuff. You guys are walking me into the mouth there, but I can't, against the king. You know what I mean? So I got to go and play along.
Yeah.
That's why when I got in there, I was like, "See, I need this to be fair."
Well, that's what being an advisor is about. Yeah, you solicit everybody's input, and then you make a tough decision, right?
Well, I anticipated that when you're working with other people, and that's what I love, because I felt like Todd had a personality with his character, David had a personality with his, and they were being developed as the game went along. And the more that you realize you got freedom to just kind of do whatever you want to, the less you'll take off the bumpers and just go.
Well, and that's why I did the prologue. A chance for you guys to develop quickly your character as best you could, right?
Yeah.
And then we throw at you the other big part, right? Mm-hmm. I thought it worked okay, right?
Yeah.
It did, especially for a bunch of guys that used to playing.
In film, prologue always establishes either the major threat or the characters. It's a character reveal. So I just did it as a character reveal. Yeah. The major threat is the Viking invasion. So normally there would have been no Viking invasion written. I would have rolled a random seed, and it might have been. Okay. It might have been. So, who knows what would have come up, right? But I had made Act 1 starts with Viking invasion. Yeah. So I actually decided that before game's time, right?
Okay, cool.
But how you handled it, entirely up to you. And you guys chose to.
Did you see what David did in the fight? I noticed, because we're doing this act like a movie thing. When you said it zooms in on his face and he has this blank look, and then you.
Oh,
awesome.
Describe the white knuckle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very cinematic the way incorporating that into it.
Thank you.
I knew you was really liking the situation, and everybody's sitting there listening to it. That's what I want.
Yeah,
like we're sitting, like it's a community.
We're all witnessing this world together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like looking at my phone or character sheet or some kind of crap.
Now, David, how did you feel about having the responsibility for that character then? Because the players roll everything, so they have to take
I like that. You know, I prefer systems that give you that control, so to speak. I don't have a problem with it, you know.
Yep. Boy, that's where I'm at now. I tell you, 50 years old, it's like, dude, let's play.
Yeah, I mean, it's it can be. I mean, honestly, it can be tough sometimes to formulate.
Right.
You know, certain things, but I mean, you know, it's I think it's challenging. I think it holds your attention a lot more. Mm-hmm. You really have to pay attention to what everyone else is doing in the game, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Because the characters are what drive it, not the GM, not the story. Exactly. You're not.
You all have like an equal place at the table.
Yep.
Everybody's got a chance to drive the car. You know.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I think it also, to me, I can only speak for myself, but this also gives me more of an investment in the actual character. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, I will say that, you know, certain games or systems that you play, you know, they're funnels, you know, it's kind of, and I mean, just me, I prefer to be able to kind of, for my characters to kind of have more meat to them and you know, and at least this way you have the chance to invest in the character a little bit.
And part of our
goal, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we could have died at that thing, but you know, still felt good though. Yeah. You know,
and part of the game design goal with this is if you want to be smart, you can use mind to impact play, just like body, just like spirit. If you want to be spiritual, you can use spirit to. Yeah. So you're not handicapped if you choose a 4 body and a 0 mind.
Yeah.
Right. You're handicapped if you get in a mind conversation, or you end up in a state where you
Right.
need to read something. But what's
Right.
cool is you could use mind as an alchemist and create the same combat effects.
Right. The creativity is up to you. Yeah.
Yep.
You can find solutions yourself. It's up
Right.
to you. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, I read Jason the other day, and I just had written down statue on one of the things. So I rolled it, said statue. Okay, well, you see a statue, and he gets up there, and he's like, and I just describe it, and holding symbol in his hand, and he goes, "Oh, that's blasphemous," or
That's a
whatever. it's called.
pagan, right? I decided.
like-
I decided
yeah,
the
it's a
value.
pagan thing, right? And he's going to take it down.
Yeah.
And when he says he hits it,
Right.
and I'm thinking of a chalky kind of.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, it could be like just the husk of an actual human being.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is we're playing to find out. So instead of telling a story, we're finding out. We're just discovering what happens, and that to me is the joy of character play. The characters, we don't know what the story is. We're gonna find out.
You know what? I did something like this. I remember it must have been like 7 years ago, and I had this group I was playing with, and they came across this village, and I said, "There's a huge statue outside the village," and I asked one of the players. I said, "What is it a statue of?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he goes, "It's a giant penis."
Sometimes I can backfire on you. Can't, but hey,
Okay, so we've just come across a tribe of penis worshippers.
it happens.
Yes, it can.
and that's true. Sometimes some people just want to like
Yeah.
they want to that didn't wreck it. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
That
but
can be the
yeah.
But I have had instances where I've
Right.
allowed that given up that control to
Right.
the player,
Yeah.
and without having respect for the setting.
There you go.
Yeah.
That,
The
there you
culture
go.
of play. You got to be
There
playing
you
with
go.
friends. People
Yeah,
want to
there you
respect
go.
each other.
There
Right.
you go.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
there is such a thing as giving utter player agency, but they don't get agency over something like that.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the question
And in
question
that
is, what do you think of this statue that is a orc king? They're free to decide what the hell they think that statue means to them, but they're not going to define the statue.
Yeah.
What I was wanting to
Right.
point out about what
Yeah.
Jason did with it creatively is when he hit that statue, I just said offhandedly that there was vines coming up, right?
Right.
So he's starting to break it off and break pieces, and I'm like, oh, well, he rolls a natural 20, which is a negative, right?
Yeah.
So I
Critical
made
error. Yep.
the vines come alive and whip out and start grabbing him and pulling him into the center. And he's trying to fight, and he constantly is failing. And by that time, they've erected him as a statue and have intertwined.
Oh wow! There you go.
It's got barbs going into him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm serious. I'm about to kill the dude. Because he's already taken 2 or 3 injuries, and he's down to what? What'd you have? 2? I think?
2, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he stopped and he goes, because he was a priest, and he said, I pray. And I was like, okay, so it was a
I
pagan
shifted the
thing.
combat from body to spirit, and I
And so-
used spirit to fight the vine.
And when he rolled from the
okay.
spirit, it started decaying and wilting the things, and then they started breaking apart off of him, so that got him out.
Okay.
Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
cool.
it took
So you
me getting my butt kicked before I realized all I can do now is pray.
Right.
And
Well, that's the thing.
then Dale said, "That's spirit, baby. Roll your and that's yeah."
I would say my one suggestion, that being said, would be if you guys have the inclination and or the room to do so, I would say make sure you guys put examples
Yes.
of
God,
that
yes.
so that the players are aware that they have that
power.
Various
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
leverage you can get from various attributes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Of how to use them. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah,
I'm
we're,
always
we're
proud
trying.
of
We
that.
define it, and then we try to give examples. So we got to
Yeah.
do that because
Yeah.
I mean, if you have players that think everything's combat, all combat is body.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. So I'm good.
Again, thank you. And I'm sorry, guys. We took you another 20 minutes beyond our shut-off time. I'm sorry, but thank you so much.
Really appreciate it, guys.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Not a problem.
All right.
All
And
right.
then we'll try to get another time to finish it at some point.
Okay.
So,
Definitely.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy your weekend.
Yep.
Yep.
I'll
Yep.
talk to you
Great
guys.
weekend, guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Bye.